So your child is going into kindergarten. What grade is your child going into?
7th grade.
7th. Is it a new school at all?
No, it's the second year at the same school.
So you have it a little bit easier.
Just a little.
Just a little bit easier. So the biggest thing that I want to say to all parents is you've got to be upbeat and positive. One of the things that I notice with parents is they're very nervous, especially with the start of kindergarten or the start of high school. The anxiety that they have can be very easily projected onto their child. So number one is we have to figure out how can we be upbeat and positive so that if we have anxiety, we deal with it away from our kids, but we look at it in a very positive way. Believe it or not, you don't want to talk about it so much that it becomes this big heightened thing. So you say it as, we're excited, we're going to kindergarten, we're going to go look at the school. One of the things is preparing. You know, I'm really big with preparing, but preparing upbeat and positive, but in a way that's natural. So it's very natural to think about, well, how do I prepare? Well, let's go visit the school. So walking the school, visiting the playground, walking the halls, mapping out what rooms they're going to be in. Now, some of you may not be able to get into the school yet, but as soon as you can, and this should be in a 504 or an IEP, that you have the ability to get into the school and walk the halls. So I call it walk the halls. And I call it that because you're walking the halls. And if you can get the schedule like 7th grade, and we know from 8 to 9 or 9 to 10, you want to visit those rooms so that the child can actually make a roadmap of their daily schedule. Kindergarten is one room. 1st grade is another room. They don't tend to move around. Do your kids go to like a music class, an art class?
Well, my son will be starting at public school,
Yeah.
so there'll be the whole gamut.
So it'll be the whole gamut. So this is a new school for him as well.
Yes.
So both of you are in the new school. I'm super anxious. What the heck do I do? I'm so glad to be on this podcast.
I couldn't be more anxious.
Well, the good news is that every kid has to go through this and that he's not alone. And that when you start in a new school, everyone's starting in a new school. So it's not like he's isolated out where he's entering into, let's say, 2nd grade and everyone's been there for 2 years. So everyone's going to be nervous. So misery loves company. But I think the preparation is really important. Have you had opportunities to walk the halls and visit the school?
We have.
Not yet, but we've been on the playground.
Okay. You want to get into the school. Have you had opportunities, even with your age, to connect with peers or children that may be in his or her class?
Possibly. I'm in a bit of a unique situation in that we haven't really decided on kindergarten or 1st grade yet.
Oh, okay.
And I know that's a little bit odd given the school's about 2 weeks away. But given his challenges, his birthday is in the middle of August, which is right near the cutoff. So we've sort of been counseled to stay back, but he's sort of the age. Let me give you some
feedback on this. I know that not everyone has this, but it's really important to think about, even though you're not holding your children back. You want to look at 4 domains. You want to look at their social growth, their maturity. You want to look at their emotional maturity, how like anxiety, their worries, their fears, their ability to function, separation anxiety, severity. You want to really think about that. You want to think about where are they academically? Are they on par? Are they above? Or are they still struggling a bit? I want to say that when I talk about this, this has nothing to do with intelligence, because some parents personalize this and be like, but my child's really smart. Has nothing to do with intelligence. Emotional growth, social growth, academics, where they're at. I mean, it could with academics, but for many kids, they could be functioning on grade level or above at home, but in the classroom, their anxiety is so high that they can't show it. So that's important. And communication functioning. Believe it or not, the least concern is communication for me. So in other words, I can have a completely mute child, but struggle completely mute, peers and teachers. So that's not the reason that I think about retaining, because I believe with treatment, with strategies, interventions, accommodations in the school, the children do really well. And you know this. So the reason I'm saying that is I want you to think about academics, social and emotional, and where your son is, because you will only thank me and thank us if you retain him, but you could kick yourself if you move him forward and he's not ready. 1 more year of growth is only going to help a child become a more confident being, a more confident being, growing in these areas and going in as a leader and a more of a big shot than more of an underdog. So think about it. Not telling you what to do, but I had to say it for you and our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And happy to discuss this more because I'm not telling you to retain. I'm telling you to think about these things. So as far as transition goes, walking the halls, also kind of letting them draw a roadmap. If you don't know any kids yet, as soon as the school year starts, you want to connect with the teacher to think who would be a good match. I can tell you, I did this for my own daughter who back when she was starting kindergarten and finding out that there were other kids that loved art like she did, or a little boy I'm working with that loves chess and finding out another little boy in the class loves chess and finding those common areas and then working with those parents in some capacity that you may not get to know until back to school night. But sometimes the teacher can help ease the transition with giving a note to another parent to help that parent say, hey, there's other children that would love to have a get together. One of the biggest ways to help with ease of transition is to practice in advance. If school's starting on August 28th, starting August 15th, get up a little earlier in the day that's closer to the time of school. Because I don't know about your kids, but when my kids were home in the summer, they were sleeping late, going to bed late, doing all of that so that when school came, all of a sudden they had to be at school at 8:05. That was like they were still sleeping and dreaming over the summer at that time. So you definitely want to get that routine of school going much sooner than you realize, especially for our children that really can have struggles with transition, getting places early. If there is nothing wrong with getting there 15 minutes early and being the first to arrive versus the last to arrive. Because, and I don't know if with your child, if you're on the bus, so you don't have a choice.
No, we drop off, so we're good.
Get there early.
Mhm.
And one of the questions I'm asked, I was just asked this 2 days ago during an intensive I did, is like, my child won't go into school, didn't go into preschool. What do we do? You walk your child into school and you have to have permission for that. You don't want to fight with them on day one, but you want to kind of practice the drop off, but walk in. What you're going to do is you're going to walk them in, but as they settle into school, you're going to be walking out. And you may even set up a path where day one, I walk into the classroom, get them in. Might be day 3 and 4 that you do that. Maybe the second week you start where you drop off at the door and the teacher takes them. And then the third, you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you're at the entrance to the school. Then you can get real creative where they help you, because it's very important they're involved in this, where they can even step it back where you eventually drop off right at their car. Do you have any feedback on that?
I do. I have a question, actually, in that our elementary school, I don't believe, permits parents to walk students into school. Is this something we should push if that's not allowed?
Well, I guess the question is, if you dropped off at the corner, at the curb, sorry, not the corner, the curb, how do you think that she will do?
I think it will be challenging no matter how we do it. And what they typically do for kids who have separation issues is that they're on their radar. So we are on their radar as a potential, struggle with separation. And then they have the counselor meet the students outside. So they're sort of handled by an individual who helps them transition.
That's ideal.
Okay.
So I'm by no means telling you to go into the school. Mm-hmm. I'm giving you the backups.
Yes.
Like the bridging back.
Okay.
Like, in other words, the goal is that we're just like everyone else. But the fact is, if they're not and they're screaming and having a fit. So when you talk about the counselor or the teacher, part of the ease of transition is to have them meet this teacher before the school year starts. In an ideal world, in your case, you might have to go to multiple teachers, 7 teachers, and do the back to school summer vacation questions, which we have in the summer vacation, summer vacation and back to school guide. Okay. And we're working on with your child at camp. Okay. So that they create this. I interviewed, I answered, I asked. It might be at their level, which may be nonverbal at the start. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is having something to focus on to meet the teacher. A book about my summer. I went on a trip to Portugal, having a picture album, maybe a book about me and all my interests and my family members. It gives a focus rather than this. Because some children, now your child's older, so it's a little different.
So we've done that before when she was younger, and it did help a lot. Elementary was very supportive, very cohesive, that net was there. So middle school, this has been different. So
yeah, it's definitely different.
7 different times.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, but it gets easier, right?
It does.
Yeah, and so I think it's important that and also that those comfort items to bring to school. And you can be in 7th grade or 12th grade, but have a comfort item that you bring. I've had kids have a picture of their mom or dad and their family. They have this thing at Christmas time, at the holiday time, where it's this picture thing where you send it in and they give you an ornament of your of whatever you want it to be. I did it with all 4 of my children and their partners and me in the picture. And we were all there as a family. And I love that. And I actually have one on the little tree, the Hanukkah tree. And then I have one that I hang in my room because I just love seeing it. So we've done that where kids have sent that in with their family. And then they have their little family with them wherever they go. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a security blanket. Who cares? What are you thinking so far?
I think that's very helpful. One of the things that we've done is we don't really know anybody going into school. So I found another mom on Facebook and we started a Facebook group together. My daughter knows one child, but now we've started having a couple of play dates with the people in the group. So while we're not really, they're just kind of in proximity and playing near each other at this point, at least it's something. And it's allowing us, we ended up connecting with another separation anxiety family and walking the halls with them. Okay. It's positive, even though it's sort of a step-by-step process.
So that child should be, if they're going into the same grade, you should reach out to the school and they know about SM.
Yes.
And the separation anxiety and the anxiety. That child should be your child's first buddy so that they have the reassurance they're sitting next to each other. In fact, meeting with the teacher to know where they're sitting, where their cubby is in advance, that should be part of your IEP 504 so that they have those special circumstances. If a counselor is coming out, your daughter should meet that counselor way before the first day of school and know where that room is as well. I think the hardest part is how we handle this. And I think they feel our anxiety and our worries.